So welcome back to TLKInfamous. This is season 2, episode 1. I'm so happy to be here. We completed season 1. I have Social Lee here, myself. We got Saint Percy here, yes. T Divine, and we have the special guest star, yes. Aisha Hall. How you feeling?
Welcome. Thank y'all for having me. I feel so good. Thank you.
I'm so happy to hear that. And we are so excited because I think when we first came across Aisha Hall, we went to a Music Fest event, and she came on and said her story. She said she did 10 years, wrote 4 books, then came out, started her own credit repair company, and then she just started rapping. I was like, yo, this lady does everything. And I was just so like, I don't know. I was just so shocked and so excited. And Saint first, he was like,
I was like, yo, get them. I was like, it was you and your friend. Y'all share your story, and we was like, I was like, yo, we need to have them on.
Right. And so I went up to both of them, and when I went to Aisha Hall, I just loved your energy, and this is how we started. So we have her here, and basically we want people to share your story because I just feel like there's a lot of people that end up getting incarcerated, and sometimes it's very hard to get on the right path. Definitely when you have so many barriers blocking you. You have that little checkbox. There's only so much you can do. But for you know, you end up doing more outside the box and started many businesses. So I want you to tell a little bit more about your story if you want to lead us.
Yeah. So basically, after we met up with you, we all did our research and we got to watch the BET special, American Gangsta Trap Queens. Yes. And we just got to learn more about your story. And I remember I watched it. I hit up like, yo, she's iconic. I was like, she ate. And after hearing your story, what I loved about it was the whole series. And what it did was humanize and tell your story in such a great way. And I just want you to just share, your story a little bit for the people who may not know and be familiar with, your story.
Okay. Thank you, by the way. Thanks for supporting the show, too. Of course. It was actually like the number one. Everybody was so, into it because they had never seen a young black female make so much money, accomplish, such a big feat. Even though I messed up, it still was like, wow, this girl made $10 million. Right. That's a lot of money,
it definitely is.
Especially me being 24 at the time, And I was going for, I went in at 25 and I was going for, 10 years. I'm 38 now, so I've been home 3 years.
Okay.
Wow. And it was a struggle. And I'm always preaching to people, work for yourself, be an entrepreneur, work for yourself. And then like when the pandemic hit, it was like, everybody's getting laid off, jobs is closing. I didn't really skip a beat because I worked for myself, and I provide a service that people need. But the way I got to this position is my early start. My father was a hustler. I was exposed to music. I was exposed to making money very young, and I wanted that for myself. So when I started Apogee Financial, it was just an extension of always being a leader, always being a hustler, never wanting to settle. I liked nice things, but I never had anybody give them to me. So I always was used to having to go and get things on my own. So when I had the opportunity to start this company, I jumped on it. I didn't know anything about trading. I didn't know anything about commodities. I didn't know anything about proof of funds. I didn't know anything about that stuff. I taught myself, 100% self-taught. And somebody was doing it, and I paid attention. And I'm like, anytime I see somebody doing something that's making a lot of money, I always want to jump in on it. Like, it's just automatic. I don't care what it is, Like, I want to jump in on it, especially if I think that, I have a lot more fear now. But back then I was just like, what I got to do, how I do it. Nobody's getting hurt, I'm in. That's how I thought. And with that business, nobody was getting hurt. Nobody was taking losses. So I didn't really think nothing of it. But I did forged documents, and that's where I got in trouble. Everything else was sweet, was legit. But it was the changing of the documents, as you seen on a documentary. And to make that much money that fast, I just wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared to be making $1 million a month. I just wasn't. At that age, I'm thinking, shoot, $100,000 a month is a lot of money. $1 million? Like now when I think back, first of all, I just felt broke as hell after that. Like, I just feel like I don't have nothing. When you make $1 million a month, how do you compete with that? Everything else just feels like it's less than or
Trump change.
Yeah. So when I got out of it and was able to look back, I was like, wow, damn, I did all of that. And it's been my driving force, like to get back there, but just do it in a way where I don't get in any trouble. I'm kind of all over the place because it was so much that happened.
Yeah.
So much. It was crazy, like OD crazy. But anyway, for people that don't know why I went to prison, when I was doing the proof of funds and the trading, it required that people have a certain net worth to qualify. And we're not sitting around on 100 million, 50 million, 30 million, not our people. So a lot of these opportunities, we weren't included. And it's like, it's not fair because I can have $1 million and still it's not good enough. I can have 3 million, 5 million. Y'all not going to let me get in and trade with the big boys, even though they're spending the same amount of money I'm spending because I don't have that net worth. Of course I don't have that net worth. I'm black and I'm in America. Mm-hmm. When did I have the opportunity to accumulate that kind of wealth? It's just not even historically possible here. So it's just like we're just cut out. So I felt like using my skill set and, my hustle and my drive, I was able to help a lot of people make a lot of money by making them look like they were worth more than what they were. And there was a legal way to do it, which I did. But then there was also an illegal way to do it, which I did as well, which was just changing the numbers on paper. And that's where I got in trouble. But I helped so many people get into the trade, who didn't take losses. Like nobody was getting hurt. It was just like, if I'm coming in here and you say, in order to come in here and sit on this couch, you got to be worth 100 million. And I'm like, but it only costs $20 to sit on the couch. Mm-hmm. All these people are lined up. Bunch of white boys, they got $20 just like me, but their bank account is different than mine. So I can't come in. So what I did is I gave the entry ticket for people to be able to get in. Right. Okay. And when they get in, they spend their own money. So now I'm like leveling the playing field, which is why when I got in trouble, I think I got so much time because it's like, who do you think you are to put people in position when obviously there's been a lot of steps taken to keep people out of that position, So my lawyer say, oh, you'll probably get probation or a year or whatever. And I'm like, all right, I can handle that, whatever. So when I got 10 and a half years, I almost passed out. I was like,
this was not what I was expecting.
Wait, 10 and a half years, but it was almost like a slap in the face. Like, you little black girl, who you think you are? You know? Because there were Madoff co-defendants and different people, other women who had similar charges, but they got 6 months. They got a year and a day. They got probation. How the hell I get 10 years? And the majority of the money was in my bank account and they seized it. They took what? $6 million from me? Wow. A lot of people, they get these cases and they give them restitution because there is no money. The money's gone. Yeah. I wasn't money hungry, spending it. It was just sitting in the bank because it happened so fast. But I'm sorry. I'm just going on.
I mean, you told the whole story. That's what we wanted to hear. But for me, as you were speaking and as I was watching the film, the two things that stuck out to me, and I told Leah, was financial literacy as well as racism in the judicial system, as also sexism. And going back to financial literacy, I felt like what you were doing was practicing financial literacy. And that's what kind of stood out to me, like throughout the whole entire thing. It was like, here was she was practicing these skills and making it so that, people in her community, give them an opportunity. Unfortunately, not everyone is do the right things with their money and stuff like that. But that was one of the major things that stood out to me was the financial literacy part.
Right. Even before and after and inside, I've heard your story, and before you was helping people get credit, be able to do things that they couldn't do. Like I literally have family members. They have enough money, but their credit is bad. They can't even get a house, and that's just unfair. They can't even rent an apartment. And I'm like, they need a place to live. You know what I'm saying? And there's not a lot of people that have the ability to do so, whether illegally or legally, that will actually just take the action to do so. And even when you was locked in, I know you made a lot of friends. You helped a lot of women in there, and then you wrote 4 books. And I was like,
13.
13.
Oh, 13 now.
13
okay,
books.
13, nice.
Okay, 13 books.
Yeah,
the
because
Pink Panther Clique.
Yeah, I wrote the Pink Panther Clique.
That was the first book.
No.
Okay.
The first book that I wrote was Boss Life, actually, and I self-published that one. Okay. So I wrote it in prison. So it wasn't on any like distribution platforms. That's why you probably didn't see it. Then I wrote Kima and Lamar, A Ghetto Love Story, parts 1, 2, and 3. Then I wrote The Backside of the Story with Kimberly Smedley. I did a lot of co-writes with people that wanted me to tell their story when I was away. So I wrote that. I also wrote with Brandy's story. I wrote with Shawana Swiped. I also wrote King's Reign Supreme. I also wrote Pink Panther Clique. I also wrote Baltimore Raw. I wrote Caught Up Loving a Ball. There's so many. It's like I wrote Larry the Linden Lion. Like I wrote a bunch of books, and I wrote all of those while I was away. And it was how I got through my time. Honestly, I spent all my time writing books. So, and these are novels, like 300-page books. Like they're books. They're not little like cheesy 50 pages.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're books, you know. And it was a lot of work, but it also gave me a purpose in there. You know, a lot of the women had amazing stories. I also have some books that I ghost wrote, you know. And it was like people wanted to get their stories out there. And what I started to see was a pattern of us being over sentenced. Like, why are we getting 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20 years for nonviolent crimes? Like, why? Like, why? What is the purpose of this? And people who are violent offenders are getting like a slap on the wrist. Yeah. Honestly, even people in for murder. I know people who got murdered that got 7 years, 5 years, because they usually drop it to manslaughter if they take a plea, you know. And it's like, all right, cool. You know, I'm not judging anybody's situation. People are not the same at 21, at 31, at 41. And it's like, they just slam us like with no redemption. Like, it's crazy. And
do you think it has to do with you being a woman of color?
150%.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's like I taught classes while I was there. So I taught the chess class, and I particularly wanted to teach the chess. Huh?
I seen that clip of you and your sister.
Yeah.
I need to learn from her.
Yeah, because a lot of women don't play chess.
Nope.
Yeah.
We make a lot of emotional decisions.
Right.
I was one of the few who was in there because of something I did. 90% were in there because of a dude.
Wow.
You know, like their boyfriend, he was a hustler, and they was like, you know, driving a car or lived in the same, you know, something stupid.
Right.
Yeah.
But they didn't really do anything. So it was like, you got to start making, if you're going to come to jail, make sure it's something you did.
Right.
Earn this crazy shit, you know? Like, don't just come to jail because you following behind some dude that forgot about you anyway and you bidding by yourself. That was the majority of the case. So I was definitely an anomaly when it came to that. Like, chicks were just definitely playing the ride or die role for these dudes, and the dudes was leaving them. So being in there, I was like, I need to teach these women how to play chess, how to start thinking, you know, like outside the box, and not just following behind somebody or following your heart and being a love bug. Listen, you gotta use your brain, you know, and so I taught that, and I also taught metaphysics. I don't know if you're familiar with metaphysics.
Yes.
You are? Okay, so metaphysics is like beyond the physical, metaphysics. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's
like spiritual type of thing?
Yeah. Just teaching you how to, it's like kind of like, you ever seen The Secret?
Yes,
I've heard
manifesting,
gotcha.
And going into history, and you know how we really created so much, and so much was stolen from us, and just giving people a sense of connection to who they really are, you know.
Yeah.
So that was like, I really found a lot of my purpose while I was there, you know, like a lot.
You know, when I was watching your episode, I was like, this woman is a genius. You pretty much, because you pretty much use the system that was made to help rich white people, right? And all you did was partake in America's capitalism, and look what they smacked you with. But the same white loan officers, especially ones on Wall Street, and they be getting like probations, just like you said, smack on the wrist. So I guess we can say that, is that your biggest motivation to, you know, make sure you get your story out there and help everybody, you know, just like us?
Yeah, definitely. You know, like I don't feel like we could change the system. You know, I feel like we could change ourselves, but we can't necessarily change the system because it's run by people who profit from our demise, you know? So I teach people really more so just find a creative way to get your bag and stay out of these people's way. You know, like everybody was like, I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm gonna be very vulnerable and honest. If I didn't go to jail already, I would have been PPP rich. Okay?
Oh, I believe that. I believe that.
If I didn't go to jail already and have that fear instilled in me, because I would have been like, money is being dangled in my face and it's so easy. Why not?
Top earner.
Right? But I was saying to myself, heck no. Because I know the system and I know they really don't care about us. And I know they're not going to just give us stuff and it's not going to be some backlash later. I want no parts. Because everybody was hitting me up like, yo, Ish, I know you got. I'm like, nah, I don't know. I don't got nothing going on.
I don't got nothing
for
help
you.
Sorry.
With that
and now
being
with
said,
the 17 years,
just because you brought up the PP, because that's like, I feel like that's a new way of people, get into the bag. Like, how do you think the culture of, I guess, scamming? I don't want to put that negative connotation to it, but like, how do you think the
negative.
Culture? Okay, cool. How do you think the culture has changed since from now till then? Because it has different ways, due to technology or different things.
I see like a lot of youth that just scam. Like you was different. You was investing. You was flipping houses. I think I even read that you bought a whole block on Detroit at one point.
Yeah, I bought 75 houses.
75
amazing.
houses. 75 houses. I wanted to.
I'm gonna get back to that one though. Yeah.
Like there's a lot of youth that's just scamming. They just buying their Balenciagas and Gucci and this. They're just buying money that's just going to white man pockets, but they're not really doing anything with it. And of course,
they don't know how.
They don't know
exactly.
how.
They don't know how.
Right.
And nobody, if there's an opportunity to flip money, wants to just not flip money. If I could say, you got 10 grand right now, let me give you 25,000 back in 6 months or 6 weeks, who's going to say no? Most people would say, yeah, heck yeah. They just don't know how or where to look or what to do.
Because of financial literacy, lack of.
Right. And not even just literacy, just secrecy. Because a lot of stuff out there is secret. You got to know who to know what's up. If you don't know, you could be looking and looking everywhere. If it's hidden from you, how are you going to find out? So we got to start creating kind of our own ways to flip money. That's innovative ways, because those circles are going to be closed to us. You can learn all you want to learn, but that's why I'm so passionate about credit, because credit is really the key to wealth.
Yes.
People complain like, how they came out and said Trump paid like $500 in taxes or something crazy. Yeah. But it's legal because you understand tax codes, you understand credit. You don't pay taxes on credit. So if somebody gave me a $500,000 loan, or if my homie writes me a check from my own money, right? If you follow me, and writes loan on the check, I don't have to pay taxes on that. It's a loan.
Yeah.
It's considered debt.
I didn't know that.
So, I could be sitting on $20 million. If it's credit, I could set it up whereas it's a balloon payment 5 years, 10 years from now. So I got 10 years with $20 million. So I could turn that into a $200-300 million, and I'm not paying taxes on an initial amount because it's a loan. You don't pay taxes on debt. You pay taxes on income and assets. You don't pay taxes on debt or owed money because it's not your money.
Right.
So if you can have everything looking like it's borrowed money, you're not paying taxes. Right. And this is what the wealthy people know, and the secrets that they know, and they know how to flip and switch it up and do all of this crazy stuff. And who is teaching us this stuff?
Nobody.
Who's teaching it? They're not teaching it to us. So we have to figure it out on our own. Only thing we see is what wealth looks like. Yeah. So we go, and when we get money, we want to look like wealth because that's the only connection we have to wealth.
Yes,
what it looks like. It looks like the Balenci's. It looks like the Prada and the Louis and all of this. It looks like that, but that's not really what it is. So because we see the end result, that's what we mimic. But we don't really understand what wealth really is. And it's unfortunate because it's set up like that. It's definitely, and I learned that. I played with billionaires in that game. When I used to have to do proof of funds for $300 and $400 million, who do you think I was going to? The billionaires. And they don't even put money in the bank. They have private banks. When you go to, I always tell this story that this is how I knew I was balling. This is how I knew I was balling.
Not the gold, not you going
not
getting
the
the gold.
None of that. It was a simple trip to the ATM because a place I was going to did not take cards. So I said, let me go get like $100 out the ATM or whatever. And it was a little cheesy ATM like that's in the wall. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like the little one. And they print these little tiny receipts. And I was tripping because the receipt said that I had like 699,000 or something. And I'm like, hold on, we missing a whole comma and another number. But the receipt was too skinny to print my balance.
I'm dead.
So that's how I knew. I said,
Mama, I made it.
No, for real. And then I realized a bigger realization was this country is built for poverty, because you're not even thinking that you need to have that many digits, because you already know people aren't even living in that realm, you know? Yes. But what about the people that do? You just, you know.
Sorry. I just want to say it's crazy how, like, you having that type of access to that type of wealth and that type of money, how it changes your perspective. Something as simple as, like you saying, the receipt not being, you know, a certain length, because that's just not something that is made for us. So that's just crazy. I just thought it was crazy.
I was gonna say it's very interesting that you bring up that, because I do feel like, listen, I've lived off government assistance at a few points in my life, and it definitely have saved me, helped me, fed me. But I want to say sometimes people do get too comfortable and just go into that 9 to 5, getting that little check where they could pay their next bill. Like you said, people get in that mindset where, okay, 50 grand I could do. And I think at one point you was 19-year-old making 50 grand per year. And even at 19-year-old making 50 grand, you was like, no, I need more. So I do feel like a lot of people, definitely in the U.S., we get comfortable in this stigma where, you know, 30 grand, 40 grand suffices, which it can suffice. But I feel like if we have the aspiration and motivation to do more, we'll definitely be able to do it if we see it a little bit more often.
Yeah.
Well, it was who I was around.
Yeah.
So 40 and 50 grand would have been okay if I was around everybody else making 40, 50 grand. Right. But because I worked in the mortgage industry, that was like my first real job. The loan officers was making $200,000 and $300,000 a year. So 40, 50,000 was on the low end of the totem pole. So I'm trying to move up. Right. So if you work in an environment where everybody is the same, you feel like we all got the same struggle. We all got the same bills. We all going to be in this rat race. You know, we all comfortable. But there's nobody to motivate you. Even your boss, you make 40, 50, they might make 55 or 60. It's not that big of a difference to aim to. Yeah. So it's all about who you surround yourself with. If you're surrounded by people who are living better than you and they look like you and their age is around your age and it seems like those goals are attainable, you might have a different attitude. Right. You know, you're in the projects and everybody around you has the same story, the same struggle. You kind of feel like this is my culture and this is how life was meant to be for me, and you get defeated. But when you see how the other side live and you see it every day, I mean, for me, I was like, nah, this ain't it. I need more.
I need more, yeah.
It's admirable that you are here and you're making it your business to educate us on everything. Because, you know, a lot of people have so much information sitting on like gold mine information and they're stingy with it, you know, and they're just going to keep it to themselves or the people. Right.
They judging you. You don't deserve that. Or she's too dumb. He's dumb.
Oh,
he don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people like to form opinion before they even share the information.
Yeah, and they feel like, I don't know what it is they feel like, because I don't have those feelings, so I can't relate. But they just are stingy with it. And I don't know if it's so much stingy, depending on what group you're talking about. Some of it is calculated, you know, because, you know, living in a capitalist society, you have to have poverty. That's the way it works. If you don't have poverty,
and it's better to keep people there.
Yeah,
so absolutely. You can have that all to yourself.
Yes.
Even with Section 8, like the people that live off Section 8, I just feel like Section 8 system, I get it, but also too, like let's say you work at 9 to 5 and you live in a Section 8 apartment. If you make a certain amount of money, they're raising it up. But even so, even if they raising up the Section 8, the stipend that they're giving you to help you pay for the rent, it's still not enough. So it's like, let me go make some more money outside of this government assistance. Even so, but once I do make money, Section 8 is still going to take majority of it. So it's like they still keep you in a cycle where it's very hard for you to try to, you know, do more than what you see. I do want to ask you a question, right? Because you are author, you're a rapper, you're a singer, you do credit repair. You have even your own business with Pinac Official, right? You do your own drinks.
Yeah, I don't. I'm finished with them. Like I came on board with them. Okay. And basically got the brand popping. So I was like a brand ambassador for them.
Okay, I got you.
And you also do the luxury car rental?
Yes. Now that I just started. Okay. So we have a bunch of Range Rovers, and we basically rent them out. You know, and it's doing really well. Like all the cars are. I even had to rent my own car because I promised one person a car, and then my partner Shawana, she rented it. So the person's like, "Yo, I don't have a car." I'm like, "Look, just take my car." So now I had to drive like my mom's car because my car It's rented, but shoot, that's $200 a day.
Right.
You know, so I'm like, take it, go ahead.
Right.
You know, because I'm all about. And my new course that's about to come out is called Aisha Hall's Masterclass. And what I'm teaching is how to turn debt into assets. I don't care if you live in a big mansion. If you're paying for it out of your pocket, it is a liability. It is a debt. Okay. It is not helping you. You're not popping. If you live in a house like that and it's paying for itself, okay, now you're on the asset side. So when you have to pay for something out of your pocket, it is a debt. It's a liability. When you have something and it's paying for itself, meaning it's paying you, then it is profit and it is an asset. So, for example, if I buy 2 houses, right, and one house is a 2-family, and I don't live in it, and I have a single-family house that I live in, the 2-family, if it brings in enough rental income to cover the mortgage on that house and my house, okay, now I'm doing it the right way because my investments are paying me,
right,
and I'm living free. If that makes sense.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. Even, the house I live in now, like I have a tenant and it helps me. So I'm never going to pay. I'm always going to, like my car, $1,000 a month. I don't pay that. The rentals pay for my car, right. So that's how you build wealth. You have money. Wealth is all about what you have coming in every month. That's
different streams of income.
Different streams of income.
I like that.
And that's what my course.
With that being said, Miss Aisha Hall, jack of all trades, what is your goal? So what do you want to be known as going forward? Besides your story and everything, what do you want to be known for?
Honestly, I want to be a freaking oligarch, if you know what that is.
Yes.
Okay. That's like a super wealthy individual that has made other super wealthy individuals. That's what I want my legacy to be. Like, I want that to be my bragging rights. Like, I met Aisha, and after I did such and such with her, I got a bag. Like, I want to be able to brag about that. Like, I got you a bag. But
you were doing that.
Yeah, you
were doing that.
But I want to do it in a bigger way. In a bigger way, where the world has to acknowledge me. And I'm not talking about just us. I'm talking about the world. Like, they got to put some respect on this black woman's name.
Yes.
And not just say, oh, we just, because I walk, when I first got to prison, one of the guards had jokes and was like, oh, you must have been one of them strippers hiding money for your man.
Like, no, I was a boss.
I said, why? Because I got a little booty?
Right.
Because the brain is bigger than the butt. So let's have a conversation.
Right.
But it's like we get typecasted. And there's so many intellectual people of just brown people, Hispanic women, black women, people from the Caribbean, African women, people of color who are so intellectual. And that's more than just their figure. Like, people say, yo, Ish, you so fire with your bars. Why you ain't blow? I said, because I'm not naked. Right. That's the only reason. I have every connection. Everybody who you can think of respects my music.
And you have the story, a real story.
Yeah, but the record labels don't because they can't propagandize what I'm doing, So I just do it because I love it, and I get enough respect from my peers to make me keep doing it, but that's the only reason. Think of any chick right now that's popping as an artist that's not like
doing everything.
Being sexualized. Yeah.
Name one.
Yeah.
No, I can't. And I definitely want to say I definitely respect that because me as I love music. I always try to listen to music that is literally you hearing what they saying. It's not always about sex. It's kind of overwhelming. But in terms of marketing, I just feel like that's an important thing to say because I think with social media, it's very easy to sexualize yourself. Women, we make a lot of money. Men, a little six-pack, y'all make a lot of money. But at the end of the day, we also got to think about what other streams of income I want to make, what other connections I want to make. Once I post this photo, how is that going to limit? And I'm not saying that's a negative thing. There's definitely a lot of people that make money like Halle Berry or Megan Fox off sexualization. But in terms of the avenues that you want to take, you have to be mindful of what you put out there. I do want to follow up with that question, right? For a lot of young people that's still trying to figure out what they want to do, because you have done so many things and you have excelled in so many things. I want to say, how do you know, because you have so many skills, how do you know which to focus on? I have people in my life they're a little bit confused. They have a lot of aspirations, dreams, and things that they want to do, but it's very overwhelming. And they don't know what step to take. What would you recommend as advice?
Well, you know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm confused. I have so many things I want to do, and I'm sometimes all over the place. But then I decided, let me brand my all over the place. Let me brand my jack of all trades.
Right.
Sometimes you have to do everything and see what sticks, see what stands out, see what makes the most money. I did a lot of different things, and it was like credit repair just hit. Like, I might make 10,000 doing this, 8,000 doing this, and then boom, I make 50,000 with credit repair. Well, I know I need to stay focused over there because that's where the money is coming in. That's where the attention is, you know? So it's like sometimes you do different things, and it also depends on your intellectual level. Everybody's not the same. It also depends on your ability to multitask. Everybody can't. Right. So you got to kind of know what your skill set is. That's why metaphysics was so important to me, because it's like know thyself. Know yourself. Don't do something trying to follow somebody else or just going with an impulse. Really think about it. Think about if you can handle what it is that you're trying to do. Don't just, if you could do 5 things, do 5 things. Right. If you're doing 5 things and you're struggling, then stop doing 5 things and try to do maybe 3 things. If you're still struggling, then focus on 1 thing. So it's not a one size fits all remedy for that.
Right.
But what I will say is my biggest piece of advice is write it down.
Oh,
yes.
Heavy on to write it down, because
write it down.
First of all, before I get to that point, you brought up the phrase, the jack of all trades is a master. It's a master of none. And it's crazy. Today I was actually scrolling through a video, and there was a lady she was talking about a lot of people, they don't know the full saying. So the full saying is, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I think a lot of times, you know, especially in our generation, you know, we see that there's so many opportunities for us, and we feel like, oh, maybe I'm spreading myself out too much. And, you know, a lot of that has to do with that saying. You know, people think, oh, because I'm spreading myself out too much, I'm not focusing on many things. I can't focus on one thing. But I feel like you said, you can spread yourself out. It's all about what you can handle. You just got to portion. Right. If it's 5 things, it's 5 things. If it's 3, it's 2. But don't limit yourself.
Right.
And then going back to the thing of you writing things out, I definitely agree with you on that. I think something about putting a pen to a paper definitely brings power into
solidifies.
Yes,
it goes from intangible to tangible.
Metaphysics.
It's exactly metaphysics.
I need to know, do you have a vision board?
I actually did. I don't have one right now, but I did the whole time I was in prison, and I did on and off when I came home. And I will say that almost everything on my past vision boards I accomplished. So now it's time for the new one. I'm glad you reminded me.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
I definitely need to make one before the year starts. Even for the rest of the year.
Oh, and I didn't answer your question about the scammers. You asked me about scammers.
Yeah, how did you think the culture has changed of scamming? Yeah.
Well, I'm very particular about how I use the word scamming, because I feel like we've been scammed since we've been in America.
Yes.
Right.
I feel like this government got a lot of nerve calling us scammers. Y'all been scamming us from day one. I mean, especially if you're of African descent. We built this country for 500 years for free. If that ain't the biggest scam, I don't know what is. You know what I'm saying? Like, America is so-called great America because of us. And then y'all couldn't read, couldn't write. Do you know how much of a setback it is to have people tell you, all right, you free to go, do what you got to do, you ain't a slave no more, but you can't read or write? Do you know how much of a setback that is? And people, I think they skip over that, because there's a lot of critique of us and our circumstances. And it's like, wait a minute, do y'all realize that for half of not a century, but a millennium, we could not read and write without being hung or whatever was going to happen?
And they hate to hear it.
Yeah, so it's like, do you know how much of a setback that is? So I think that we're really just some dope people to be able to be where we are right now, having a whole 500 years, only really up until the 60s. Where
seriously.
Like my grandmother, we were talking this morning about how her mom and her aunts and stuff couldn't vote because they asked them when they passed the right to vote, all right, nigga, how many jelly beans are in a jar? You know, how many grains of rice are in here? Oh, you're wrong, and you couldn't vote. So they had all these little games.
Like what they're doing right now.
So first I couldn't read, then I wasn't allowed to write. Now I'm not allowed to vote. Okay, tell me I can vote. Now when I vote, it's a scam. So when you talk about scamming hasn't.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, we live in the culture of scamming is what they taught us, what they teach.
It's a reflection of our society.
It's a reflection of our society, and my people just want to get the so-called American dream, however possible. We just have all these setbacks. So I feel like sometimes, you know, I don't want to go against the thing. I just be like, get them.
You know, we
had listen. You and me both, because when I was young, I remember, you know, I grew up around that lifestyle. You know, if you black, especially you live in a particular area, you're gonna know people do it. Right. And I remember this, me being so young and naive, I used to think associate those people with being bad people. And as I got older, you know, you start adulting and you start getting a job, and you be like, oh, this is why people do this. And also, you being a black person in America, you realize, like, damn, it's like certain jobs you can't even get in the door, interviews, and it's hard. And I think that's what I loved about your story and the series, is because, like you said, it just shows, like, you know, how scamming, the culture of scamming is a reflection of society. Mm-hmm. And it's not about us trying
just being
to be
bad people.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know,
we're not us trying people. To make our own opportunities and get our own bag. Like
we had that American dream before they ripped it from us.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We've been had it.
Yeah,
we just need to get it back. But you know, they put so much into our culture. They put so much into our neighborhoods that blocked us from getting to where we need to get back to.
And it was not that long ago. Like these,
it wasn't.
These white men are having generational wealth over what five ancestors or whatever, and we still have a lot of people that's still struggling. So a lot of people that be like, oh, that was a long time ago. No, that generational wealth is still building credit for these young white kids that's able to go to school and stuff, and we're still trying to fend and go through all these obstacles.
And real estate, like they pass down real estate, and they pass down home ownership. We pass down Section 8. It's a big difference. Wow. A lot of people I know, they like, oh, such and such is moving, I'm gonna take over Section 8.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like we don't really hear, oh, such and such passed on their property or their house. But what houses do is it is the easiest way to get access to large lump sums of money, because when you own a house, you can always take out a line of credit against the equity. You know, white people that have property, oh, I'm going to take out a $200,000 home equity line of credit to send Timmy to school, and Mary wants to start a new practice. So your parents or your grandparents have access to credit and real estate, which allows you to have access to opportunity, because a lot of opportunity. How many opportunities do you know that we missed because we can't fund it?
Exactly.
We can't fund it. We have a great idea, but we don't have anywhere to get the money.
Right.
The banks won't give us the credit. You know, we don't have assets. We just really have so many setbacks. And I feel like when I came home, and there was no social media when I went away. So when I came home, Instagram was new to me. People were like, oh, yo, I started an Instagram page for you, and you got a whole bunch of likes. I'm like, what is a like? Like, I didn't even know what that was. And it was like, oh, people are commenting this on. I'm like, how does this work? So when I came home and I saw Instagram, of course, a person like me who's a big hustler, I was like, oh, I'm about to get paid because everybody's rich. Look on this. But it was a facade. I didn't understand at first. Because I'm like, damn, everybody's popping. And here I am. I'm a fresh home. I don't have nothing, not a dollar. And I'm struggling. So I'm like, if all of these people are able to do what took me a lot of thinking to be able to put together, and now I have experience, if it's this easy now, oh, I'm about to be a billionaire in like 2 weeks. That's how I was looking at it. Then I started seeing more and more that people literally buy stuff just for a look. They don't even keep like it. So I'm like, oh, they're not really in the big money club. So don't feel, because I started feeling emotional about not being in a certain position yet. Because I'm like, what am I doing wrong? All of these people, but it's not real. And now I understand that. So that's the difference.
I'm about to say, you answered the question.
Of now and then. Yeah, that's the difference. Because when I was, you know, getting to it, like,
it was real time.
It was real, like real. Like, I got drivers and I'm walking with security, and like, it was like I was bossed up. Now I'm like, this looks like the situation, but that's rented, and that's it's not official. Right. And I'm not saying don't enjoy that feeling, but don't you want it for real? Like, don't you want to learn how to really create that, so it's not just a front, you know? So yeah.
Listen, thank you so much for sharing. We do have to wrap up, but I definitely
you
dropped some. No, we want the music.
No, I want to. Okay. Just gotta wrap before we wrap up. I just have to ask you one important question.
Okay.
The potato roll.
Oh yes.
It's called a potato roll.
Potato log.
Potato log. I was watching your live, and we want to try the potato live because
for real,
we know prison food hit. Y'all get real creative and innovative with that. So
yeah, I have to come back and bring Juana.
All right,
and then we'll have to make it for you.
We will definitely love that. We would definitely love that. Before we let you go, yes. I know you had the Aisha Hall project that you dropped in 2018, and most of those songs, because I was into some of the songs, and it was just so like rough, very descriptive. Did you write some of those songs while you was in prison, or did you really?
Yeah, my first, compilation that I put out, I wrote all of that in prison.
Wow. Okay.
I wrote like 50 songs while I was away.
Wow.
All I did was write. Yeah.
Do you still have unreleased music from the time that you was in prison? Wow.
I do.
Wow.
And I'm like, each album that I put out, I'll put like drips of that in there because I'll never be in that position again. So whatever I was feeling in those times, that's like unique. You know what I mean? So I definitely, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So I have so much music. So much music.
With the American Gangster album, I love that album. I definitely seen a lot of this. You did like 2 samples with I think You Girl and Tonight, and I love those.
She was playing that play that back.
And the last song really surprised me because I wanted to know like what's your ethnicity?
Oh, my father's Jamaican.
Because the last song I'm like. Not every rapper can switch up and do a Caribbean feat, and this was so like well done. I'm like, this was dope. I really love the album.
I got some more Caribbean flavor for the new album.
Yes, we here for it.
Let's go. We need it.
We do have
We need the bashments.
Say that one more time.
We need the bashments.
The bashments. All right. Listen, Aisha Hall was definitely kind to bless us with a teaser of her song. We want to play a snippet or the whole song.
It's up to you. Whatever you want to do.
We're going to play the whole song, all right? So we're going
So sick.
And any last words for the audience and the people of the world?
Yes, thank y'all so much for y'all support. And if you're going through something, just look at my story, get motivated, and it's not going to stay the same.
I love it. I love it. Now, say the name of the song.
So sick. And it's dedicated to my man who's locked up.
All right.
And I'm so sick of this prison shit. So
that's all right. Thank you so much for joining us. Blessings to you and your loved ones. Thank you guys for TLKInfamous Season 2, Episode 1. Let's play it out.
Sitting here waiting for you to come home. So sick of seeing them do us wrong. And I'm so sick of this. And I'm holding on to your last kiss.
Tat on your back, say ain't never going back. Mindset different, so that statement is a fact. Even if you did, it would never be the same. I would die on the inside, couldn't take the pain. It would feel like my heart been broken up and rearranged. Never leave me, I'm begging you please. I would go insane like we breathe the same air. I don't even care about nothing else but laying up right here with ya. Cause I swear that you the best, nigga. Here they come, baby, I'ma do the bid. So won't you come and let me have your kid? And I won't do you like the mother bitches did. And relatives is very different than your family. I was a choice and I'm seeing what they can't see. I love you rich, broke, raggedy or fancy. And if we try and fail, we go to plan B.
Sitting here waiting for you to come home. So sick of seeing them do us wrong. And I'm so sick of